Okay, this is a run through of the procedure for you guys for reference for when I'm not here. Hopefully this will give you an idea of how to go about running this machine. First of all, before you even get on site, you need to make sure you've got enough acetone in the flush tank, that you've got a spare supply of acetone available, you've enough resin and activator in the tanks at the rear to do the job, and that you've heated them sufficiently before you even begin to think about getting on site. They need to be warm through. You don't know cold spots. Okay, so we'll assume you've driven to the site, you get on site, you open the cabinet up. None of these are connected at the moment when you get there. Not even the delivery lines for the resin, or the delivery line for the activator, or the recirculation line for the activator, or the recirculation line for the resin. None of these normally, when I'm in the UK, are connected up. These are disconnected down here and down here. They're plugged, they're wrapped up, and they're looped over the lift pumps. All these air lines will be contained in the cabinet, and they're there for connection when you get on site. So, let's assume you've gone on site and we've undone the activator and the resin delivery lines and the recirculation lines. You've connected them and you've returned the recircs back into the correct apertures on the tanks, on the activator tank and the resin tank. So you're on site now, you've got these two lines connected on both sides of the tank. You then want to connect your air lines. I keep the longer air line for the acetone tank. I keep the two shorter lines for the activator lift pump and the resin lift pump. You will connect these onto the adjustable valves at the rear, one on the resin, one on the activator. You connect those and you make sure the valves are turned off. So then, whether you have a portable compressor or a tow compressor, you'll have your compressor in place, you connect your air hose, and you connect your air hose here. But prior to doing that, you'll make sure that your air line is switched off. Very important that your air line is switched off. You don't want to be opening your compressor with that air line open, just in case these valves aren't in the positions that they should be in. So, you can connect your air line, making sure that's off. Before you open that air line, you want to make sure that nobody's been fiddling, messing, interfering. And you want to make sure that all your valves are closed. This is your spray line valve, your back flush valve, your acetone line valve, your outflows, your recircs, and your main air to your propulsion pump. Before you turn on any air whatsoever, you double check that this regulator is backed off fully, that there's no pressure to this propulsion pump. The reason for that is if you somehow forgot to do that and then you introduce air into this, as soon as you open that, this pump in here is going to go slam. It's going to balls it up. So you make sure that's backed off. Okay, so you check that all the valves in the right position. The only valves that will be open will be the recirculation valves, because that's how you left it at the end of the last job. So, you can now open this air line. This air line will then set air to the lift pumps of the activator and the resin, so then you can come around the back and open those valves. Open them fully, make sure that they're both open fully. They will then start to stroke. They'll struggle a little bit because the material in the lines is cool and it's not getting any help from the propulsion pump. So, once those lift pumps, this valve is open and those lift pumps are receiving air and they begin to stroke, you can then open the propulsion line pump. This is the main air for the propulsion pump. Once that's open, you can increase the pressure to roughly 20 psi. It is in the UK, you're probably working a little bit better over here in these conditions. And you give it some pressure to make it start to stroke. This T-bar on the propulsion pump will start to stroke up and down. As these lines, this is the resin coming in and the activator coming in from the lift pumps to the rear. As these lines start to warm up, so too will these lines, which are your recirculation lines, which are taking the material back to the tank. So the material is being lifted, pumped and dropped back in, and that's the recirculation mode. As these lines warm up, you won't require that kind of pressure on this regulator, so you can back that off, so you've got a nice easy stroke. You guys know what I mean about a nice easy stroke. You don't want it clattering around, you want a nice easy stroke, and all that's doing is stirring up your material and mixing it around. Okay? Just cut that for a minute now, Jason.